Well, the English summer is here. The English summer is upon us, and we're back, baby. Oh, we're back. We're talking New Zealand, England. We're talking IPL. We're talking Australia. Are they ever going to play cricket again? The IPL is wrapped up, of course. Sam Billings is on the show. This episode is brought to you by Budgie Smuggler, and we're getting around Budgie Smuggler. We're getting around some ordinary rigs. We're going to get to that a little bit later on, but you can follow Budgie Smuggler at Budgie Smuggler UK. It's budgiesmuggler.com, of course. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry, welcome back, because the people have been asking, hey guys, when are you back? Don't feel like we've actually left anyone, but it's a separate audience from, the YouTubes to the Patreons to the Patreons to the fair listener as they ride onto the tube this morning. And they're thinking, you know what? Summer's here because TGC's back, because we're now part of the summer seasonal cycle, you see.
Of course. And covering the entire UK summer, except for the county championship. Except for the county
Chelsea
championship.
Flowers show.
Right, exactly, because they're the two other components of the UK summer that everyone's screaming into their earphones on the tube right now. Onto the Elizabeth line. Hey, yeah, mate, no, really good to be back. We haven't really gone anywhere. We've been covering the IPL on YouTube. Some people will cross over into that, so it's still been like 40 shows in the last 8 weeks, but it's been a break from the Anglosphere. And look, it's good to get back into the Anglosphere, into what we know, into the conventions, etc. And if I could just roll on here goes. One of the key conventions of the Anglospheric cricket is that social one where if you're a really good player, then you go back to a lower level. You just like to let a few people know that you still got it, etc. And I thought we saw that this week, a couple of days ago, when Rikki Clarke, of high-level first-class cricket fame, 2 tests for England, a couple of ODIs as well for England, went back to play with his club, Shruton Cricket Club.
Yeah.
In look, I don't know what division it is. He goes, I'm reliably informed in the comments that it's bin stuff division. And his tweet, look, I want your view on this, because I've been just scouring the internet for the last couple of days. You've been away with your mates having a life, and the tweet's from Rikki Clarke, blue tick, and it just says, "Love playing with these lads," and it's a smile emoji with the heart symbols as eyes. At Shruton's, he tags in his club. You think, oh, that's nice. He loves playing with his lads. And the way to buttress the way he loves playing with his lads is with a screenshot of a scorecard from the game.
The scorecard.
Just their innings, just Shruton's innings.
Yeah, not the game.
And Rikki Clarke comes in at number 3. He goes, and he's made. I haven't got the full total here, but he's made.
He's made 229.
He's made two. Sorry, I just meant the team total. He's made 229. Of 109 balls with 16 boundaries and 22 sixes at a strike rate of 210.09. The next highest score is 42 by S. Little.
Yeah.
Which is it's a whole separate issue. But it's arguably the biggest story.
They've opened the batting with a mouse.
Yeah, arguably the biggest story. But, hey, I just thought that was a classic of the genre. There was a little bit of follow-up. It was a little bit disappointed. People were sledging him for going, well, you shouldn't be playing against bin stuff. There's a little bit of footage doing the rounds of him batting. Got to say, it's pretty funny. Real stand and deliver stuff. But not to be outdone, Peter Trego, who's also played a lot of first-class cricket for some, so he follows up in the next 12 hours and he says, so Rikki Clarke and myself get double hundreds for our clubs. So, bet we both still average 35 at the end of the season. Hey, 35 is good average.
Mate.
Hashtag club cricket life. Sad that he seems to be getting stick for giving back to the game. Typical twatter. P.S. I can't fucking move this morning. So, you're just wondering again. It's one of those.
What about the levels to that one?
One of the it's just
levels all over that.
Just one of those pieces of communication that's like, what's he really communicating? And it just, maybe they're right, he goes. Maybe we are twatter, Maybe these guys are merely giving back to their clubs. I don't know. I don't know if you don't know if you screenshot yourself hitting 229. You screenshot that scorecard. I think it's worth questioning in the in the interests of adding to the discourse.
Yeah. So Peter Trego is just he's seen what Rikki Clarke's done. He's well, hang on. I too got a double 100 on the weekend. Where are my accolades?
That's right.
In the guise of sledging. I'll take the sledging, but I want you to know that I have double tonned up.
That's right. We're just a couple of pros going back to help our club. I also got a double ton. I also got
just the supposition of so.
Yeah.
So we both got double tons on the weekend.
Yeah.
Such an unnecessarily so. I mean, it does take two to Trago, if you will.
And I will.
Yeah, okay.
So club cricket's back, he goes. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Club cricket's back. The people are playing. Summer's upon us. 30th of May today. So, summer is here in but hours. And let's get into the England season because the first Test match against New Zealand starts at Lord's on Thursday. Yeah. And I'm not sure if you've caught the news, Pez, but there's some exciting changes. There's some exciting changes in the hierarchy of English cricket, whether it be in the boardroom or the dressing room.
I have caught it.
So do you want to start with Ben Stokes, who is the new England Test captain after Joe Root stepped down maybe a month or so ago, maybe something like that. And I feel like was it well, actually more than that? Anyway, whenever it was, writing was on the wall there for Joe, I suppose, but really left one man and one man only to captain the side, and that man has been given the armband. Which I think is something that's going to happen in cricket soon, what with numbers and names on the back, et al. But yeah, Stokes is captain. Are you feeling things about this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, has there been a more feelings-based set of appointments? And I welcome it, by the way. Like, there's just new sheriffs in town deluxe, and rather than sort of going one by one, I just want to throw a blanket over all of them and just say it's good blokes selections, It's beers. It's beers, but it's modern beers in a lot of ways. It's simplification, but with a little bit of self-helpy kind of self-development stylings to it as well. And of course it would be. I want to say from the top here, Ali Martin was going to appear on the show from The Guardian to give us some actual news about this kind of stuff, but we had some connectivity issues and we'll be back on the horse with him next week. So we'll just pick it up. But one of the good things about a horrendous season, he goes, as you know, in club cricket, any level of cricket, or maybe 2 or 3 horrendous seasons, maybe it's a pattern, is that you tend to have a great off-season after that. The off-season is kind of understood in the context of the bad season because you get a culture review with butcher's paper. You get new faces with new energy, new kit. The nets are great, invariably, because no one's losing. No bad things are happening to you. And I feel like this sums up the mood of England cricket at the moment. There's a lot of new gear about. There's a lot of imagination that can come into play now. Okay, we've got an MD who's never managed before. We've got a test coach who's never coached in a red ball game before. We've got a test captain who's never captained in a first class game apart from filling in once in a test match. But they're all really likeable blokes, he goes. People might say they lack credentials, hard credentials. But likability is a credential in and of itself. Likability is in vogue, isn't it? People are just pining for likability, including the Australian side as well. And so, I guess that brings us to Stokes being appointed. I don't know. I just like it's a hard man. He's simplifying things. Roots back to 4. It's Broad and Anderson. It's just let's just keep things simple, boys. Step hit, see ball, hit ball, side mouth, beers. I don't know. I kind of like it. I'm looking forward to it.
I feel like it's. I feel like the ECB have just tried to turn it on and turn it off again. Turn it off, turn it on again, rather, if you will. Where it's just a complete system refresh, which is what you need after the complete diabolical season that they had last year of winning 1 of 17 Test matches or whatever the fuck that statistic is. Yeah, when you go through it, I suppose they went to 2 of the hardest places to tour in world cricket, Test match tours away to Australia and India. Doesn't get any harder than that. And then I suppose, performances aren't good enough. They don't have enough good players, etc., etc. So something had to change. I think the importance of for instance, in football senses, the captain on the field is very different to cricket. Cricket's so hands-on, whereas much more tactically astute decisions need to be made. But you also just need a good bloke to get around. I think like good blokes are so important. I think you need to like your captain in football. I think you need to like your captain in cricket because he's like telling you what to do.
Yep.
He's telling you where to bowl. He's setting parameters within the game, like i.e. field settings, for you to execute your skill. Now, obviously, at the very highest level, bowlers set their own field, but in my mind, it's fourth grade. Okay. But like, I still think you need to be able to like approach it. Your captain needs to be an approachable, likable guy. Now, I'm not saying Joe Root isn't likable. In fact, I find him very likable. What strikes me is this selection a little bit was when like Brian Lara was captain of like a really bad West Indies team. It's like, yeah, your best players captain, like a Jai Warden at the end of his career, where like the team is no good anymore. Your best players like just taking all the workload. I don't see a lot of things changing. I see an uptick of like 5% here, which hey, better than a downtick of 5%. Don't get me wrong. I just feel a bit Partridge shrug about the whole thing. Like, yeah, that's good. It's a new kit. They've got Castor now on the kit. It's Ben Stokes. He's doing an interview with Sky Cricket about a month ago. He's got a great new salad. The fade's looking fantastic. He's looking good. I hope he's mentally fit. He's looking fit as well, like physically fit, I mean. But I worry about the workload, you know? I worry about it all being a bit too much. And what happens if they get worse? Like, I don't know if that's possible, but that's also a potential, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I think New Zealand are good. I think New Zealand are pretty good.
Well, what about Brendan McCullum then, Hugo, speaking of New Zealand? So McCullum, you know, like I must admit,
sure,
upon his appointment, like I thought McCullum, because this is all like appointments are now brand based, right? Like these are all these are vibes appointments. Just as McDonald was as well. Like Andrew McDonald's got like hard credentials behind his appointment, but like it's still vibes. It's still a move away from intensity brought about by other people from other generations, which I suppose we'll come to. But like I thought McCullum's brand was like attacking cricket and beers with Chris Lynn. That's what I thought it was. He's got a lot more gravitas than that. He gave a good speech a few years ago at the MCC. That helped him get appointed. But it's not a bad brand. Like, but is it fit for Test cricket? Like, I can see the allure of Brendan McCullum. You know, for a team at the bottom of the rung. Like, it's sharp salad vectors. Collar just so the other day as he presented in front of Lords. Nike trainers, sockless. And he's kind of like Kiwi laconic as well. Like this is the age of the coach who facilitates, he unlocks by creating relaxed environments. Like that seems to be what's in vogue now. You know, they all the players play so much, mate, that they don't have space for cloying intensity anymore. They're all in bubbles. They don't need someone telling you to go to Gallipoli and get into the trenches and like, you know, like everything is tidal though. So like in the past it was work hard, circuit hard, wear pain as a badge of honor, sweat, grind, don't be a weak coat, get in the tubs, get your cock out. You know, how many birds have you slept with? You're weak if you haven't. You know, like that's... It's an information exchange. I'm not glorifying it. I'm just saying it's what it was. But do you think we'll pine for the hard man soon enough? We're in the relaxed, you know, nice, thoughtful environment. Do we already miss Ravi Shastri, for example? So, yeah. And I did also like that Brendan McCullum said... I like that Brendan McCullum said in his presser the other day, everyone's got a fear of failure to a degree, but it's probably just a little more English than others. I like the coach was coming in and he's saying there's something a little more inherent when it comes to fear of failure in your country. But, you know, to be fair to England, they like a lot of the guys who've changed the game for them in the last couple of years have come from overseas, you know, like Andy Flower, Owen Morgan, Trevor Bayliss, Kevin Peterson, you know, they like a stepdaddy to come in and say it's going to be okay and hold our hands.
When they play, though, I don't think Peterson's idea of franchising club cricket is necessarily going to get off the ground. Just judging off the groundswell support from Twitter and his interactions recently, but I wonder if Brendan McCullum can be the unifier of the core members of the team to unlock the potential of someone like an Ollie Pope, someone like a Zach Crawley. Now, obviously not those two people, but just someone like them. Yeah. Because are we still talking, like, is anyone talking at all about how, like, Broad and Anderson just didn't even go to the West Indies? And I think it became... I thought it was obvious, but I don't think anyone else spoke about it, so maybe it was actually just me being dumb. And it's not even a real thing, but like... wasn't there just like a riff in the team where the captain Joe Root was like, these guys are not good for the team environment. They can't like we shouldn't play them because they're putting too much pressure on younger guys. Like, do you know what I mean when I say that? Like, it just struck me that
but that's
how many
dead
times
now.
can these young guys...
Root's lost. He's not captain anymore.
Yes, he has.
And now it's back to like isn't Key and McCullum and Stokes? It's gonna be beers deluxe, thoughtful beers, deluxe, modern thoughtful beers, but still old school beers in the sense of like it's side mouth like. Mate, we're playing Broad Anderson.
Because I'm not saying like there's a riff in the dressing room. I'm not saying that. I just felt like Broad specifically, which might be wrong, was like just looking at like the batters in the team being like, fucking hell, I'm not going to win shit with this. Maybe he's right. You know, he probably is right, and he's way better cricketer than most of the guys in the team that he plays with. But like having that in the environment struck me as quite a negative, toxic scenario. Hence why 2 of the best players they've ever had didn't go to the West Indies, where they then lost that series as well. But like that's now gone because of new blokes. So anyway, my point is, can McCullum come in and unify the group in this relaxed setting to then unlock the potential of, you know, guys that have the potential to be Test match cricketers? Because at the moment they've only got like 4 Test match quality players. That's basically where they're at with their squad. Now, like, when I say like I wonder if it gets worse, like what I mean by that is like, if Stokes gets so overbeared with his workload that he then performs to a lower level than what he was before captain, and if Root's now in a bit of flux in his own career where he's not the captain, now he's like just a batter in the team, maybe that you would think that would actually mean that he should score more runs because he's got less on his plate, but that also might not be the case as well. He's been averaging like about 170 in Test cricket for the last 3 years. That's not going to keep going on. So they've got to find more runs from somewhere else, and that player doesn't exist just yet. So is McCullum the guy to come in being like, let's throw the foot around. We'll pretend like we're at Twickenham, do some black cap stuff, do some all black stuff, get some vibes, beers, and then we can win some Test matches. Is that it? Is that it? I think it's worth a go. I think it could be fun.
It could be fun. I'm with Rob Key. You know, like buckle up for the ride, baby. Like I don't know. Look at that. I think they're probably going to go okay this summer. Like, I think people will still be expecting them to win both their series against New Zealand and South Africa, isn't it? So,
yes.
And I think it'll just be off the back of, you know, Root 4, Stokes 6, Broad and Anderson will play. They just need a couple of support acts to step up, you know? They just need Bairstow to score a few runs. And the big one for them is like they've got the 2 best young players in England back into the side together, which is Ollie Pope and Zach Crawley. They are the highest class and most talented players. They've had some struggles, etc., but they obviously just have decided to invest in them. It's in England, you know, they're pretty good at home. Mm-hmm. I think they could have a pretty decent summer, and I think that they might ride a little bit of a wave of momentum of McCullum and Stokes and Key coming in. They're just taking a little bit of the pressure off. But yeah, then again, sometimes you have all of those fantasies in off-season and you realise I'm still pretty susceptible on 5th stump, you know, 4th stump. It doesn't really matter. Or I change clubs and I still play against the same teams. I just do it on a different ground in different colours. Turns out I've still got heaps of technical deficiencies. I don't know. England's obviously got injuries deluxe as well, he goes. So stressies everywhere. Sak Mahmood, Matty Fisher, Ollie Robinson. Ollie Robinson's strange stuff going on there, but I hope he's good. But he's got mounting fitness issues as well. And Chris Wokes is on the sidelines, Sam Curran, Ollie Stone, Mark Wood, and then saddest of all for me, I shouldn't really rank the sadness of injuries, but Jofra for the season. So the elbow injury turns into a back stressy. You know, come on. I'd love to see Jofra back, but what are you going to do?
It's right in the window again of it might have been last winter last northern summer we were talking about would he ever play red ball cricket again, and like he's obviously still young enough, and of course that's possible, but it's just getting to a point where like, you know, why would he? You know, and we'll talk about the IPL and the significance of that tournament in a moment, but that is just so present. Like why would he do that if he's now going to risk earning probably $10 million US dollars in the rest of his career? Why would he risk that by trying to play another 15 Test matches in his career where he's probably going to break down? There's another conversation here about when Root was captain, did they overbowl him? Was the workload too much? They had this fucking amazing bowler, first time since probably Broad and Anderson come into the side, and he's like, I said, this is exciting. It's pace, and it's something to take out to Australia as well, and to South Africa and other bouncy decks. And did we overbowl him? And I can definitely see that argument, but I also wonder, like, maybe this would have happened anyway with a guy who's as finely tuned as Jofra, clearly, where like maybe bowling's not so good for the body because it's actually really bad for the body. But like just these triggering injuries one after the other, cascading from an elbow here into a back there, suggests that like this might have occurred anyway. But it's like, we had him and we just haven't had him in like 2 years. He hasn't bowled in 2 years, right, in international. We've seen a lot of net stuff and bowling to like county twos players. That's been good, don't get me wrong. But
and the footage of that is unbelievable as well, if you can overstep.
It's unbelievable.
Blokes can't see it. Fundamentally ill-equipped to face Jofra. Like, that's good. But getting him back on the field for England would be better. Only just.
Not by much, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't know what else to say. I hope he comes back better. He's 27 now, Jofra. I think the question you ask about his viability or interest in red ball cricket is a fair question. I hope the answer's yes to it, because he's unbelievable. But obviously also England have 14 other blokes out as well. So Matty Potts is into the side. Matty Potts has come into the side. He goes from Durham. He's a leading wicket taker in the county championship. I sort of know most things about county championship. I just look at clips on Instagram of blokes who probably play twos or threes here, getting LBWs and celebrating deluxe. And Harry Brooks in as well. He's averaging 140 in county championship, so he can probably play. Play.
It's always good when you see Marnus taking the new ball and bowling to Ben Stokes as sort of one of the highlights of the season. Okay, is that what's happening in the county championship? Is it? Yeah, but what about the idea, Pez, that Matt Potts has been doing it in front of his captain, Ben Stokes?
Yeah.
So he's been doing it in front of him. Yeah, Ben Stokes has been mid-on, just sort of coaching him through a few things. He's really seen it in the flesh, Yeah. It's got to count for something. Absolutely.
And then they sing that really elaborate song at the end where they use their bats and hammer them into the...
To be fair, that is the most fun part of cricket, if I'm honest.
Would you? What are your thoughts about like getting kind of choreographed and like almost a symphony style song where you've got to get props out like your bat and like beat it into the floor on the beat? Like, do you like that? Like, do you like more elaborate songs after winning? I'm kind of torn because when I hear it, it sounds a bit like a limerick, like an Irish limerick, but and it's some English stuff. I respect it, but then again, sometimes I wish with our club song that there were harmonicas involved and there were harmonies and other instruments. Would that be sensational?
Someone doing like an a cappella.
Oh yeah, someone brings out a tuba. Just to get us in key. Oh.
Do some breathing exercises beforehand.
That's right.
Yeah.
1 1 2 1 1 2 3.
I do like the sheer primitive nature of a barbaric chant. So like if you're using your stick to bash on the floor, I often found a wheelie bin very good. Acoustically,
of course.
A nice thud to it.
Yeah. Like Red Symonds' gong, but just with a wheelie bin.
Yeah, and then you can let out some like primal screams. That's what I wanted. When you're getting 6 points in your third grade, there's few things better in life.
Good band too.
Pez, let's talk about Australia, and we'll start off with the sad news of Andrew Symonds passing, which was now a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. It's obviously hard to separate the three things, indeed, of like Rod Marsh's passing, after a heart attack, and then Shane Warne's, I think, later that week. It wasn't the same day. It was later that week, wasn't it? And then on the back of that, another Australian legend, who was also quite outward facing, Andrew Symonds, because he was still involved in coaching and he was still doing commentary. So he was still very like ever present, and obviously in that era of that team, having now Rod Marsh was very influential of those guys, and then Warne, and then Symonds. It all feels like it's affecting this one group of people, and it must be absolutely devastating. And I know a lot of people had great a relationship with Andrew Symonds. People who were fans of the game, because they just loved the way that he played, and he was so electric and he was so likable. He was such a likable person. And the travesty of this obviously affects many people who are in the cricket community. But of course, the first things you think about is his friends that he played with, and then above that, his young kids and his wife as well. It's just it's absolutely heart wrenching. But it's as I said at the top, it's hard to separate all these. The tragedy almost becomes enhanced because of the two others that passed so recently before.
Oh mate, and Dean Jones the year before that as well. It feels extraordinary that this has happened in that context, but it has happened, and yeah, you mentioned his friends and family, which should be mentioned first, and the pain they must be feeling from a cricket perspective. I suppose it's kind of moot to say, but I think a lot of his mates are extraordinarily gutted, and even talking to Watto on our YouTube show, he was really really hurt by it, and I think Rikki Ponting as well, and so your heart goes out to those guys who have lost a number of their teammates, in a really short period of time. It's given us an opportunity to remember Andrew Symonds, who was just a sensational player, and that's always nice. I hope he knew how much he was loved as a player, especially that World Cup knock against Pakistan, where he was the last player picked in the squad. He goes out, hits 140. Whack-ass trying to beam him. I was getting pissed at PJs at Drummoyne. That's neither here nor there. I'm just back in that moment now. It's the best World Cup knock I've seen from an Australian. And then the other thing I noted was that, Jonty Rhodes came out and said he was the best all-round fielder ever. That's pretty high praise as well. He was going places in Test cricket when it got cut short quickly as well, which I think is in large part due to really poor handling of a lot of issues stemming from the Monkeygate incident and other things around the team as well. But nevertheless, you just had this absolute, I think at the time I said modern weapon, old school spirit. He'll be dearly missed, mate. It's just shocking, really, that all this kind of stuff, that this has happened.
Yeah. Let's get on to news that's more presently. There's been some changes in the dressing room for the coaching staff of Australian cricket, and I suppose most notably, Daniel Vettori has been brought in,
You distracted because my children are trying to burst into the room. Hi boys. Hello.
He's got a few thoughts on Vettori.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely stinging for Vettori's appointment. My 1-year-old. Yeah, Vettori's come in. He goes and Andre Borovic, and this just continues the appointment of tall and thoughtful men. Hi, Barney. I'm just recording about cricket. It's work. Okay, relax, buddy. Hey,
what do you do for work, Dad?
Yeah, harder one to answer when Mum's a doctor. I just do the cricket things. A couple of cricket quips. Anyway,
I was in the showers once about 15 years ago, and I had a few thoughts I want to put down on paper, and now I'm here. So,
studying sociology, I thought there's something in this. This is a rich arena.
There's a bit of bunts in this.
Vettori's announced as assistant coach. He goes, and with Andrew McDonald, we're talking about two tall and thoughtful men of peace and composure. And where are the beers? Where are the tall stories here? Have the beers and the tall stories left the Australian team now? On field and off. Or where's the glint in the eye? Do you reckon Aussies? Okay. I fucking love both of these coats, by the way. I don't know if that sarcasm was coming across, but do you reckon Aussies respect anything Vettori's done? Played 442 times for New Zealand, 113 tests, 30 with the bat, 4,500 runs, 6 tons, 362 poles, best of 12er, 25ers, 17-year Test career. But like, do you reckon we respect it? Do you reckon we respect anything that he'll like as the team that is? You know, just like do I trust it? Do we trust it?
Let me answer that question by giving you this anecdote of my own experience with Dan Vettori. Remember at the end of his career where he started to score hundreds? So he got 600s, and I reckon all 6 of them, maybe 5 of them, came in the last like 2 years of his career.
Yeah.
And he started about like 7, or it might have even been at 8. And I remember watching that back in the day, and I was like, nah, small boundaries are Dunedin, aren't they? So, it's like a guy who just at the end of his career, he's already got fucking shitloads of wicket, then starts scoring runs later in his career when he's about 50. Unnecessary. When he's like in his 30s and his batting gets better in Test match standard. What the fuck is that? And I'm still like, boundaries are smaller, aren't they? New Zealand, yeah, okay. Has he ever done it against us?
Well, yeah. I don't recognise any performance if it doesn't come against us. Don't know anything about other teams playing against each other, really.
That's right.
Seriously. Andre Borovic of grade cricket fame as well, he goes. He's come from Premier Cricket. I mean, what are we now? What is this Australian side?
Yeah.
It's tall, it's thoughtful, it's progressive. I just don't know if I trust it at all, you know?
Well, isn't this part of the cycle where like when this falls over, and it will because everything always falls over.
It's fashion, it's tidal.
Exactly.
Tide goes in, tide goes out.
Cyclical. And so we will then need a hard man to come in to toughen us up because we need a bit of fight.
Yeah.
Now at the moment things are going swimmingly.
Yeah.
Australia number 1 in the on that Test Championship table thing, and they're the best team in the world apparently. And
Cummins, climate change.
Cummins, and everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet.
Yeah.
And indeed there are a couple of Christians in the team as well. That helps, I think.
Yep.
Some bit of God stuff there. Certainly for the few tosses. And so, but when that falls over, we'll need some fucking. We'll need some legacy stuff. We'll need some fucking. Why are we on back of a length at them?
Yeah.
Leg gullies. Yeah. Bumpers.
Play straight.
2 men on the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Bat properly. That kind of stuff.
Bat properly. Yeah. 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 Look, you're right. On the one hand, all the guys they've appointed seem to be really well qualified.
Yeah.
Thoughtful, really good creators of environments, respected by the people they coach. And in Andrew McDonald's case, they won in Asia for the first time in about 84 years. On the other hand, are there any circuit stories? Is there any kind of aggression? I just don't trust it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it, despite the wins and the happiness.
Yeah. Despite the results, I'm not quite sure. Because you also have to factor in that McDonald only played about 6 or 7 tests, didn't he? So that's not really enough.
No.
That's not really enough of test matches.
Yeah, and Dan Vettori, he played 113, but not the right kind of test matches.
I mean, they might as well have been sort of 6 test matches, if I'm honest. Right. Like, that's sort of 130 for New Zealand, 6 just for Australia. Fucking hell. That is so disrespectful. But accurate.
Dan Vettori played 442 times for New Zealand.
2s.
Yeah. Did he ever play grade cricket?
Yeah. Well, what's coming up for Australia is fucking heaps of cricket. So, in the next 18 months... They announced it this morning. Yeah. In the next 18 months, they're supposed to go to Sri Lanka in a little bit. That's up in the air. We'll talk about it in a second. And then the T20 World Cup is in Australia in October, November. And then there is 2 tests against the West Indies and then 3 tests against South Africa. Those 5 test matches are all at home. And then Australia go to India in February. And then they go to the West Indies for a couple of tests. And then they go to England for the Ashes. And then they go to India for the 50 over World Cup. And then I think India will probably come out here in 2023 that summer. I think that would be the cycle. So that's a fucking fair bit going on. Oh, and by the way, there's another IPL in that window as well. So,
but they'll probably shorten that IPL, right?
Oh, I reckon there'll be less games this year. Next year, yeah, definitely. When that new right still comes in, less games actually. Yeah, I actually want less if anything, for more money,
less content.
Anyway, but yeah, the Sri Lanka series, which was 3 tests, I think 2 or 3 tests in Sri Lanka coming up. There's a bit of unrest in Sri Lanka now. It doesn't seem it's not. Well, it's definitely not 100% that's going ahead, because I think it's a little bit dicey, as I understand it.
Well, they claim that I think the ACA and Cricket Australia are saying the tour is going ahead. They've had to. This is from Malcolm Conn in the Nine papers, but. So there's 3 T20 and 5 one-day games between June 7 and 24, and they've been moved to day games now. So they've just changed them from night games to day games because the country's short of fuel and medicines and struggling with rolling power cuts. So that's the sort of the extent of what we're talking about here in Sri Lanka. It seems, to put it mildly, a bit how you're going over there. Players are aware of the situation. I'm just quoting this now. This is Todd Greenberg saying, it's fair to say there is a level of discomfort around touring in conditions that contrast those faced by the people of Sri Lanka, such as rising food prices, power cuts and fuel rationing. Ultimately, our players want to continue to play cricket and will take direction, guidance and advice from CA about tour arrangements and planning. I mean, I don't know. Reading between the lines there, it looks to me like not playing might be a live option. They say the test matches are unaffected at the moment, but I mean, even... there was whispers about this a couple of months ago about the viability of the tour, and I think the first thing to say is that we hope things improve for Sri Lanka and Sri Lankans, but then from the cricket side, I feel like it's a bit of a watch this space. But if they do play, I hope Sri Lanka makes bulk Bunsons, and we got to pick 3 spinners, they pick 7. And it's just a broomathon, and just to see if Australia can do that.
I tell you, when England played their last this time last year, and then Joe Root scored 2 double tons, Dan Lawrence scored 100. Yeah, 100. He scored some runs as well, and then some of so they did score really well, but obviously relying again on Joe Root scoring double hundreds. That does seem to help. But then some of the batting of Sri Lanka in that innings in both those Test matches were just some of real diabolical gear. That was when. Dom Best got a fifer, I think, from full tosses, and a couple of half trackers in there might be as well. There was some real how you going stuff there as well from Sri Lanka. So I want to see a bit of that. I want to see some pandemonium. I want to see some fun. My tour's away. We've had one tour away in 20 years to any country, and actually it was actually a pretty tough watch, Pakistan, that series, if I'm honest, but 1-0. So it's something new for the eyes.
And they beat us there last time as well. So
they did
plenty to prove for whatever fucking trophy they play for.
Pez, what do you want to talk about next? Do you want to keep going with the Australian stuff? Do you want to talk about?
I just want to say one quick thing. The academy's gone. The cricket academy's gone. This is from Dan Bregg a couple of weeks ago. Breddo has written, Australia's rising stars will no longer follow in the academy footsteps of Rikki Ponting and Glenn McGrath. So there's some budgeted makeover or some shit for community and grassroots cricket, but then they're also getting rid of the centre of excellence. I just wanted to say, I just wanted to bid farewell. I don't call it centre of excellence, really. It's the academy. This is when you get, you had people like your Damien Martins and your Shane Warnes and your Glenn McGraths in the Rod Marsh era, when it looked like a real free-for-all there. But, I felt safe because this is when this coincided with Australia's rise to the top. This is when we got our best throbbers into a lab and treadmilled those bad boys until they were chiseled run and wicket machines for the public's pleasure. It could, I think it might have chiseled them into a bit of dysfunction as well, but that doesn't matter for us. We just saw stuff on the field. I thought
I saw W's. I saw W's. That's what I saw. Fucking clean sweeps.
Runs, wickets, W's. Yeah. I saw happiness as a child.
I never saw Steve Orr's eyes though, not fully open, just sort of half squinted. That's what I saw, and I felt good about that.
No, I think the academy was good in the 90s. After that, less so. I remember talking to a guy. I might have said this before. It's a couple of years above me at the club I was playing at, and he was a gun. He was a gun junior, and but cricket wasn't for him. I think he was quite rounded, and he said he was invited to go to the academy.
The worst.
He said, "Yeah." I know. Worst. He said he was invited to go to the academy, and he said, "Why would I want to go in and out of form 10 times during a winter?" He couldn't think of anything worse for his life, which, come to think of it, is one of the most healthy things I think I've ever heard somebody say. At the time, I was just like, "What?" I mean,
because it's awesome.
Because of the prestige, and you just go to the academy, and you just goes to the academy.
My value is that my entire self-worth is based on how many runs I got on the weekend.
Exactly.
I don't understand what the issue is.
It was the same guy actually made 100 in a first grade game against the top of the table team, and I asked him how he hit him. He said, I did it off my dick, but he actually took his penis out to start.
Any cherries on there?
Yeah, it was a hell of an image. Yeah. Anyway, a couple of thoughts there. And then obviously he goes, the Australian women's team announces their Com Game squad. And all I want to say is that like it's just safety deluxe because it's a completely unchanged side from the one that won the World Cup. Apart from Shelley Nitschke being the interim coach, which is cool. No changes. Pez isn't sure if she can bowl. Doesn't matter because they're just safe and dominant, and that's good.
And that the Commonwealth Games are in August in Birmingham. Obviously, that's people will be well across that, I reckon.
Yeah,
the
can't wait.
Games in Birmingham this year.
Can't wait.
And then just one relatively quickly. There's leading into the IPL, I reckon, but Aaron Finch was brought into the Calcutta Knight Riders quite late. He didn't get picked up in the auction. He was brought in as a replacement, and he played in the IPL. And Finch's form for, I would say, a year has been sort of up and down at best, and it seems like he's been batting for his spot for Australia almost every time he's been out to bat in the last year, I would say, and he's done well enough. He's done well enough to stay in the team and captain the team, obviously. And then the IPL has happened, and it didn't look any good. It didn't look any good. Now, look, the IPL is a very high standard. He's batting in Asia. Slightly foreign conditions, I suppose, but I mean he has played for about 7 different IPL teams, so there's that as well. He knows what he's doing, and it wasn't just a run of low scores. It was eyes have gone stuff. It was an eyes have gone stuff, and then that leads you to think like, well, is he going to be in the team when the T20 World Cup rolls around in a few months' time? Australia's not playing that much cricket beforehand. Is he still in Australia's best 7 batters to score bulk runs, and especially at the top of the innings when T20 cricket, you have to have your best player opening the batting. Now, that leads us to a broader question. Well, if he's not playing, who's captain? Because Steve Smith isn't in the team. He'd be in the squad, Steve Smith. He was in the squad in the UAE when they just won the 2020 World Cup over there. But Pat Cummins has also had a bit of a lean tournament. He would be next most likely, but he's certainly not the first name on the team sheet. I don't think Pat Cummins, given he got tapped up deluxe in this game. In this IPL, he also hit a 17-ball 50, so there's that as well. But anyway, the point is, there's no real obvious captain to replace Finch if Finch is not in the squad, which I suspect is probably going to be the case. And then there's Dave Warner, who has captained an IPL team before, even during his so his ban at the moment is he's never to be in any leadership position ever again for Australia. That was his punishment, on top of the playing ban. Now he was, at the same time, he was captaining the Sunrisers Hyderabad in the IPL. He's actually won the IPL with that franchise as well. He's playing with Delhi, which is Rikki Ponting and Shane Watson's in the coaching staff there. Rikki, the head coach. And it strikes me as like he is the most obvious choice. Now, I reckon there'd be about 98% of the people being like, fuck that, never again. He should never be anywhere near it. He shouldn't even be in the team. Some people would be saying, I'm sure. That's wrong. First of all, he's a very good player, and he's had a sensational IPL again, as he often does. So he's playing and he's opening the batting, Dave Warner. And it strikes me as he actually might be the most likely candidate. And that's going to be controversial for people, I reckon.
Yeah. I think it's it's really interesting, and I think in the interests of interrogating and scrutinising the merits of and who should be in that T20 World Cup side, which is in this country, that conversation should happen. As for Aaron Finch, yeah, I think you're probably being generous to him, saying he's just about held onto his spot in the side, and his form, and that his form's only been problematic for a year. It's probably been longer than that. And I say that as a compliment to him because his form before that is incredible for Australia. I think the first thing to say is, as far as I understand, Andrew McDonald is very loyal to Aaron Finch, and that's the most likely outcome out of all this, is that Finch stays in the side and captains. I think that from the schedule being announced this morning, they have a little bit of T20 stuff ahead of the World Cup, enough for him to probably, score runs to assure his spot in the side or to not, because they've announced a shitload of white ball stuff. being played in the regions in like Townsville and Cairns and stuff like that, and Gold Coast, which I'll call regional, and for the purposes of just this one line. So there might be enough time to see where he's at with it. But yeah, I think the question about, and I think that then Pat Cummins would be next in line as well. But I think the question about the Warner leadership ban is a really important one to have. And that there might be something going on with it behind the scenes as well. I think there are a few conversations happening about it.
Right.
Like, I rankle at the idea that David Warner is tarred for life as a villain. He's been in the past abrasive and he's had regrettable behaviour, but we've seen heaps of cricketers grow through their time in the side as well before that, haven't we? You know, you might think he's not your kind of guy or whatever, but people can be young, they can change, they can get better, they can mature. I do believe that that has happened with David Warner a fair bit, and you can come to appreciate people who grow through that. I thought that that punishment of being banned to lead for life for the remainder of his career and being so specific to him, you know, so it didn't apply to Steve Smith, who was captain, is enough to load him with that reputation as a villain in his own country forever. And because there's so much murky stuff around what happened with Sandpaper, there's so much stuff we don't know about and so much stuff that's worth prodding. I don't think that's fair, you know? So to separate the idea that I think you might think Warner is not your kind of guy, that's fine. That's different to basically casting him as a villain forever off the back of a decision made or a punishment handed down by people who themselves fell on their sword soon afterwards. That's not fair to me. And I think what happened there is going to influence people's views about whether he could lead the side again. I think the person on the street, would probably say, no, never, don't let him near it. And there's also a lot of change that's happened when it comes to Australian leadership. We've got Pat Cummins in there. The bill of Australian captain is more than just being a good, shrewd T20 tactician, which Warner is, and he's had great success at Sunrisers doing it. But I think the poor handling of those punishments should be redressed. I think it would also be smart to do that as well. I think that ban should be lifted off him. It may not necessarily mean he captains the Australian side. They might come to that view, but I don't think he deserved that. And I think there is a world where he would make a good captain for that tournament, you know, but I'm not close enough to the side to know whether that's how they feel. I don't know. I feel like it's going to come up.
I think it's going to come up as well, and I wonder if the reaction from the public would be so negative that, like, just to then bring up Sandpaper again. Now, we're still talking about it, and, you know, I think we're going to be talking about it until these guys retire, and probably for a bit of time afterwards. I think it's never going to really leave this group because they all knew about it, and the lie just begets the lie, begets the lie. The punishments were a fucking disgrace. Like, the handling of that was a complete embarrassment. You look at, like, I keep going back to it. When Steve Smith left the airport that day, no one's surrounding him. No one's trying to get to him, but there's like 25 police officers like escorting him out of the country. It's like, who the fuck let that happen? You know, like the press conferences staggered out between Bancroft, Smith, and then Warner. The absurd punishment of bans, like bans for life of captaining, banned for 2 years for captaining for Steve Smith, banned for a year from playing. I mean, it was a fucking joke. It was a fucking disgrace, that handling of it. And that had been coming from bad behaviour of Australian cricket players for 30 years. That's literally how TGC exists, because of the observations of when we were young people. Being like, what's going on here, guys? No one's like this in real life. What are we doing? Why are we cunts all the time? Anyway, so, but like, you know, now my own experiences like playing against Warner, and now this story is about me playing against Dave Warner, obviously.
Of course, has to be.
But it was like, my experience back then was a very negative one, and I held views like that, but we were also 20, so it's like, you know, I understand the hate of it, you know, of him as a person. Hate's very strong. The extreme dislike of him, and the idea of him leading would be shocking. But I suspect that this is going to come up. And I don't know. Maybe it's too big an idea for people to be like, nah. I think it's easy. It's a lot easier being like, he was the bad guy. They all knew, guys. Everyone in that dressing room knew, guys.
He's carrying so much of a load. Yeah, and when we say everyone knew, like, you know, who knows about the specific incident of like Bancroft and the actual sandpaper, but you know, as if they weren't all broadly aware of that. Yeah. That there were methods to help the ball go, you know, for a while. But maybe they see that as a separate thing. I just think in the interest of like fairness and justice, they should actually lift that leadership ban. I think it's unfair. And I do think Warner has probably matured a little bit in his life. Yeah. We were lucky enough to talk to him a few weeks ago playing for Delhi, and I thought he was great, you know. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that, mate.
All right, well, just on the IPL, in that same notion, the IPL is wrapped up this morning here in Australia, Monday morning, Sunday night over there in India. And the Gujarat Titans, one of the brand new franchises taking out the tournament, they beat Rajasthan Royals, which I suppose would have been nice. And what's the word for that? I mean, what I'm saying is like Shane Warne won the IPL with Rajasthan in his very first year, and there was sort of a nice what am I trying to say?
Symmetry.
It's like
serendipity,
some serendipity, some symmetry, something like that. Let's just go with those two. About
romance,
that. But romance I think is the best way to put that, mate. But Rajasthan were defeated by Gujarat Titans at Ahmedabad Stadium. 100,000 people there in that brand new stadium, and looked fucking awesome. And Matt Wade, from an Australian perspective, was batting 3 for Gujarat Titans, and he has been for the entire tournament. So they won. But Pez and I have been covering the IPL now for a couple of years. This is our second year. It's still in the grips of COVID, really. But the more we cover it, the more we observe the culture of cricket and the economy of cricket, the more that's just going to be a bigger and bigger thing. Like it is already the biggest tournament in the world. It's probably bigger than the World Cups. And I think for the players, we were doing some number crunching, Pez, weren't we, before, about like certain players that like what their contracts are on for for Cricket Australia, for instance, compared to what they earn in the IPL. It's that's just where it's going to go. And the TV rights deal is up at the end of this year, so the new rights deal will be signed in between now and the next. Do you actually know when that is?
No. Oh God, no.
But before the next IPL anyway, and it's going to go for probably 3 times more than it did, which puts that into the billions, several $1 billion US. So that's that means the players are going to get paid more. That means there'll be more teams, there'll be more money, more advertising. The window for the IPL is going to be bigger, probably. So yeah, that's where it's all going. But because it's on in Australia, it starts at midnight, finishes at 3, 4 a.m. Don't really watch it. Don't really see what's going on there. And then we've got a few questions about why the Big Bash is no good. Well, the Big Bash goes for longer than the IPL, and none of our best players actually play in it. So there's that.
That's another reason to lift. It might lifting the leadership ban might get Warner back to the BBL as well. Yeah. It was a strange tournament, he goes. It was in the grips of COVID. There weren't that many people there at the start. They had 100,000 there at the end, so they built it up. Players were in bubbles. There was 2 new teams. It was post-mega auction, so teams were still working themselves out as well. Teams are sort of half the players in each squad were new to the franchise, but with that, so it felt a little strange for a while, and you couldn't really get any pattern from the tournament as well. Like teams would just win, they'd lose. Everyone was really inconsistent. But Gujarat's one of the new franchises. They stayed, pretty successful throughout. They didn't even have a team full of superstars, but they got their balance right early. And they had Rashid Khan, who no one wants to hit ever. So they ended up winning. But I think, I feel like they probably just wanted to get through this tournament. Also, none of the big teams did well. CSK didn't do well. RCB, they RCB'd themselves, and Mumbai rooted to the bottom of the table. So that the viewing numbers were down, I think. But it felt like they just wanted to get through this season, and then new rights deal, everyone back at the stadiums. I think next year it'll probably absolutely bang. The question is like whether they're going to want to turn it into like an actual league, and everything in cricket revolves around it. and it's a bit of a scary. It's a bit of a. It's a grim thought for me, to be honest. But fuck, bit of money about.
Yeah, two things on a playing perspective. First of all, Liam Livingston hit the biggest six of the tournament, which is 117 meters. I think there's something in Liam Livingston. Now. Kevin Peterson said he should play Test cricket. I mean, that's come on. I mean, he said a lot of things, but he's a serious white ball player. He's a serious white ball player. He's had a pretty decent IPL playing for Punjab, wasn't he? And then Tim David, the evolution of Tim David. Now, Tim David's not really a guy that I've seen much at all. Doesn't play any Shield cricket here. He plays for the purple team in the Big Bash. But there's something there. There's something there with Tim David. I'm fucking liking it. It's big. It's thick. It hits the cleanest of clean balls. He fields in the outfield without a cap on. Big old mitts, big old buckets. It's out of a lab. It's out of a lab. And if I'm doing some white ball stuff in 5 years' time, and I got Tim David and Cameron Green batting in the middle order, fuck me. There's some tall, thick, big boy runs right there. That's what I want in the future. Now, whether he comes into the Australian squad at all is going to be a separate thing, but there's something there. There's some real power there. But Liam Livingston hit a bit bigger six than him, so what does that mean? Okay. Well, Pez, we spoke to Sam Billings, as we like to do from time to time, and we had a really good chat to Bilbo, didn't we? Really good chat to half an hour with Bilbo. But before we get to that, we need to thank our dear sponsor, Budgie Smuggler, and we're going to get around them for the most ordinary rig in the UK.
Yes.
UK's most ordinary rig.
So, and just to be clear on this here, guys, so there is a competition and Budgie wants people to enter. All right, so listen out for what this means, all right? They're celebrating the UK's most ordinary rig. They're going to be doing the same thing in Australia. And when they say ordinary, they're celebrating ordinary. They're not talking about let's just have the sloppiest rigs going around and show them off for gawking potential. Like they just want to celebrate just ordinariness. You don't have to be able to grate cheese onto your abs. They want rigs who meet the following criteria: good to have beers with, can still run for a taxi and swing an axe, looks like they were good at sport at some point in their lives but were prevented by injury or poor coaching selection at a young age. A six-pack's actually an automatic disqualification unless you're carrying a six-pack. And what they want you to do is they want you to post a pic that captures your personality in Smugglers, which includes your ordinary rig, with hashtag Budgie Smuggler UK and at Budgie Smuggler UK. So I think one's Twitter, one's Instagram, whatever. And if you're selected, right, you go into a finale. The finale is in London on July 2. These entrants are open until June 12, right? Now, the finale's in London on July 2. It's going to be a Victoria's Secret meets Miss World style pageant. What you win, if you enter the final, and you do win it, you take home UK's most ordinary rig. Just listen to this. You win a 12-month modelling contract with Budgie Smuggler. You win a billboard in your hometown that says, "Welcome to X, home to the UK's most ordinary rig."
Hell yeah.
You get an all-expenses-paid trip to Australia in 2023 to compete in the world's most ordinary rig. So it's a world championship. It's kind of like when gladiators came together. And you win a sash with UK's most ordinary ring.
Nice, that's what I want.
Ring.
Yeah,
now that's an X-rated thing. That's sort of you win a sash. So it's a pretty big tournament. I got to say, we go from the IPL to the UK's most ordinary rig. All you got to do is post photos on Instagram. That's how you enter. It's open until June 12. Got to say, I'm getting behind that. And for us to support that, here goes. What we're asking you guys to do, we've opened up our speak pipes for people to discuss ordinary rigs, okay? Tell us about your relationship to your rig. What does a rig mean to you? Where are you when it comes to the space and the construct of rigs? Give us 30 seconds on speak pipe and we'll actually play a few of them just to get people thinking about what their rig means to them. But couldn't be clearer. This isn't about rig shaming. This isn't about grating cheese onto your six-pack. This is just about an ordinary rig. No more, no less, and the celebration thereof.
Mate, I'm into the idea of having a billboard deluxe.
Mate, I've seen it in Australia.
Yeah?
I think Dan won it. I can't remember where Dan was from, but it was welcome to whatever his town was, in Townsville or some shit like that, home to Australia's most ordinary rig. And he's there with his Akuba on and budgie smugglers.
Oh, see you later. That's I'm into that. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
All right. Well, you know where to go for that, and you can see the details of what we just spoken about in the show notes of this episode here on the interwebs.
T20 stars as well, Higgins, before we get to Sam Billings. So, firstly, what's T20 stars? Well, it's the kit that Watto owns, right? My son's absolutely, he's gagging for it.
Mate, he's livid that people don't know what T20 stars is.
T20 stars, the T20 stars shop, he goes, has stock all year round. It's not reliant on the cricket season, unlike others. You walk into, various bricks and mortar retail stores. I won't name them.
No, don't name them.
I won't name the honourable member for retail stores. They don't have a lot of cricket kit through the winter or whatever, but T20 stars, it's just online. It's all year round, and like more and more kids or adults or whatever. If you're listening, you know that you play cricket in seasons other than summer. You might play your indoor cricket. Okay, I got a few questions about that. Nevertheless, that's neither here nor there. You can get T20 stars kit. Oh well, it's there.
It's there. It is there.
But you can. They still need kit. Okay. The reprobates that play indoor cricket still need kit. It's like that. They have rights too. These lowies.
Just because they're lepers, of society, does not mean that they should not be able to access a cricket bat in winter, because there is no winter on the internet.
So if you go through T20 stars, cut out the middle person. You can get fast and free shipping and returns. It's the best option for buying cricket gear all year round. Now, we just keep delivering for you. If you want 15% off that kit, you can get it because you listen to this podcast. Use the code TGC. Okay, they're going to let you put a code in. You're going to get 15% off. That's Watto. Signed, sealed, delivered design kit. His thick mitts have been all over it. All the gear is thick, obviously, because it's in Watto's image. You're going to get 15% off retail. It's already at a good price. Use the code TGC. Use the code TGC. We're just offering shit for people. God, just get your kit there. Goodness me. Come on. Getting angry now.
Stop playing indoor cricket.
Or, get the kit and do whatever you want to do.
Do whatever you want to do, yeah.
Exactly.
Get the kit, do whatever you want to do. That's the new tagline. Get the kit, do whatever you want to do.
With it.
Yes. All right, here he is. Here's the great man, Bilbo.
Okay, well, the man before you, if you're watching on YouTube or just listening, the man at the other end of the camera is he's one of those guys where you need to scroll sort of 3 or 4 times on Cricinfo before you complete the number of teams he's represented, which is not just because he's a gun in every format, but he's probably great around the boys. He's a rig. He's a salad. He hits a long ball. His dad might have a helicopter. He might be the sort of guy, if you ask him if he's got a Rolex, he actually does at that time. Since the last time we caught up with him, he's continued to make his name in the IPL. He's captain Kent to a T20 Blast trophy. He's got engaged. He's become a Channel 7 media darling over here in Australia. So we're colleagues. And he's become England Test cap number 700, debuting against Australia at Hobart after driving 18,000 hours down an Australian highway as a late inclusion. With all that in mind, it's great to have Sam Billings back on the show. Bilbo, g'day.
Thanks again for having me on, lads. It's quite surreal, actually, when you've said all of that in the last 6 months or so. You don't... probably take it in, actually. So, thanks for that. That was probably the nicest thing you're going to say to me on the show.
Hey, we've got heaps of nice things to say, and then bang, I'll jab something in. So, just got a couple of questions about the test, Bilbo, that you played against Australia. So, I'm not going to do some like wet banter here about Australia winning and all that kind of malarkey. I want to ask you about the experience. It's a day and night test. You're in Hobart. The team's already down. You make 30 odd when you batted, 29, 5 dismissals in the second innings. What was your experience of it? And you don't need to say how disappointing it all was and whatever. Like I just want the personal experience and the pride and all the stuff we don't know.
Yeah. I think actually being a little bit older now, a bit more experienced in your career, I went into that week going, you know what, I've got absolutely nothing to lose. You felt like a bit of a competition winner driving all the way down Australia, and then you're like, yeah, why not just give it a real good crack. Playing 700th man to play Test cricket against Aussie on their own patch. I mean, it doesn't really get too much better than that. So I just went in with a really open mind. I thought I'm going to give it absolutely everything and try and actually inject a bit of positivity and a bit of life into the dressing room. And that's something that kind of comes naturally to me. But yeah, certainly being a bit older and a bit more experienced, I was able to soak up the experience far more than I used to when I debuted for like in my one-day stuff or the T20 stuff. You kind of get so wrapped up in the emotion and a bit nervous. So yeah, a bit older, a bit wiser, and definitely uglier. So I could definitely enjoy it a bit more.
I think you're going all right. Just to follow up on that, we got a tweet from someone called Michael, of course, and there was heaps of numbers after his name. And the tweet was, sure, I don't know what he goes by. I can ask him. At Grade Cricketer, this is months ago, just after the game, saw Billings walking to the cafe next to where we were in Hobart. He's walking with a stride that screamed absolutely massive night and a face that was asking for help without words. Asked him how he was. And this is the quote, "Yeah, mate, not well," with absolute desperation and regret. So was it a good circuit? I know a lot's been said about the circuit, but I want to talk about your circuit post that Test debut.
Oh, it was good fun. Yeah, it was as fun as it could be because we can't go out because of COVID and everything like that. We were still under pretty strict protocols, but it was. I think that's one element of the game where even like whatever cricket you play, after a game, having beers normally with your lads, but also the opposition, is something that because of the franchise world now, everyone's kind of mates with the opposition. So it was great to Pat Cummins and I go a long way back. Played obviously Sydney Test match cricket together, and
right.
and
yep.
Yeah, a few of the other lads as well. So it was great to have a few beers, and it was a pretty late night, so I had plenty to celebrate with the cap. So gave it a nudge. Without any of the fun, I know, obviously.
Yeah. With you won the Sydney Thunder Player of the Year award this year, which I actually accepted on your behalf. So it's actually in my house. You're welcome. It's a shame you couldn't make it to that evening. Prestigious award, hosted very well by two comedians from the internet. But when I see you play, Bilbo, I'm being serious now. Like you're in every single England squad. You've been in the IPL for years, and like I feel like you're used quite sparingly. But when you play, like as with the Sydney Thunder, like when you're valued in a squad, you seem to perform so well. It has to be so frustrating. It feels like to me you've been in every England squad for like 5 years, and I
played something like 50. I think it was someone pulled the stat up. I've done more 12th man in terms of matches than anyone else in world cricket over the last 5 years. So consolation being is obviously still in the squad, but I think I'm a far better player than just being a water boy. But yeah, on the flip side of it, I'm a very good water boy, clearly. So it's not ideal, but you'd rather be in the squad than not. But I think I'm getting to the age now where I just want to play cricket as much as possible. And that's why I love the Big Bash, because you know that you're going to play every game. I mean, living on Bondi is a bit of a bonus, but you can just go out and play every single game and just enjoy it. And you're not thinking about, actually, I'm playing for my spot for the next game or the next squad or anything like that. So yeah.
Hey, can I pick up on that a little bit? Like, I don't know how, you probably can't go into any detail about this, so I don't really know what I'm asking, but like that phenomenon of regularly being 12th man or a squad player, and we joke about it, but perhaps like being advantaged by being a social creature that is valued as a presence around the team can also be to your personal detriment, except that it's never said or never quantified. It's never about runs or how you're hitting them in the nets, and so you'll never prove that might be what's going on. Like, is it true that like at the pro level, you might need to, not you, but one might need to agitate or get political a little bit or have the right conversations to like get yourself some cricket and to stop being seen as a really great bloke that might be easy. He's so well-rounded and he actually has such great social and cultural awareness and whatever that, he'll take it okay. Is that something that resonates with you, or is it just like, it's just coincidence?
I'm definitely a good tourist. That's a strength of mine. Yeah, it might be the case, but at the end of my career, when I do look back, I'd much rather be a good bloke than a bloke who upset the dressing room and caused issues. So, yeah, we played this game for 20 years. I want some mates at the end of it. So that's the way I view it. I think everything will kind of sort itself out. I'll get there eventually. I just have to be a little bit more patient. I mean, the amount of times I've heard by different people is just keep doing what you're doing, mate. Thanks a lot. I will. It hasn't changed in 5 years, but I keep hearing the same thing.
Running the water, that is, yeah.
Yeah. Gatorade, sensational.
Great mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your throwdowns must be fucking amazing, Bilbo. They must be so good. It must be the best throwdowns.
Short shoulder, done.
He's great in the dog stick as well.
I'm not that stupid,
Yeah.
That was sort of a long time ago.
Yeah. I guess it's related, Bilbo. Like, there's obviously some upheaval in English cricket. You might have heard that. I don't know. A couple new sheriffs in town, new MD, new test captain, a couple new coaches. We hear talk of a red ball reset. I appreciate that, like, we're being quite jovial and you're going with that, but it's quite a serious thing for you as well. Like, I feel like it's very interesting for you because you, as Higo says, you play every format. You're best known for white ball in terms of your performances, but you're held in such high esteem that you were mentioned as a potential captain in the red ball setup. When you see Ben Stokes limiting his white ball stuff for Test cricket, given that you can play in every team in the world and they all want you, like, does it cause you to weigh up things or think, well, how am I going to divide my time and where do I want to put my focus into? And what rather than you telling us what that is, like, what principles guide those thoughts?
No, that's a really good question. I'm a little bit worried about you two. Like, you've been awfully serious so far. Like, I'm just waiting. I'm on edge. I'm waiting for the punchline and going boom. You know what I mean? Similar to the text I sent you the other day. No, it's a really good point. I think the options that we as players have now are phenomenal, and it's a great time to be a player in this era of cricket. Look, I've never been contracted by the ECB, centrally contracted, so I'm contracted by Kent. So that kind of governs my decision making. That actually, I'm in that position at the moment, or have been, that I don't know whether I'll be in the next squad or the next two squads. So I can't plan ahead. So you've kind of got to try and commit to the franchise staff or whatever, because it's opportunities that will pass you by if you don't commit otherwise. So it does make it a bit more difficult. Obviously, if Ben Stokes, for instance, can limit his white ball stuff, he's another level. He's a superstar, but centrally contracted, and then he can really focus on, and he's got that clarity moving forward. All my decisions are trying to give myself clarity, but it proves pretty problematic month on month, if I'm honest.
I just want to ask you, Bilbo, about coaches and like the direction that you think coaching might be going, because, for instance, like at the moment you're captain in Kent and you've just come home from Calcutta, or from Mumbai, I suppose, playing for KKR. But Vitality Blast game last night, county championship, you played in the last test match England played. You must have, first of all, like 15 different bits of training kit just around your house. Yeah. But also you must have like 20 coaches at the moment. You must have so many coaches for about like a minute and then a different coach comes along and tells you to hold the bat differently, try left-handed. Like, is that so? Like, am I asking? What I'm asking is like, are coaches now becoming less about the technical side of things and more just creating an environment where people can succeed?
Hit the nail on the head. Exactly. It's all about creating that environment and also building a relationship with players, I think, and trying to get to know them in a very short period of time to get not what they want, but to get what they need to perform and to get the best out of them. I think the franchise world has also shown that at the end of the day, we're an asset. You either appreciate or depreciate, and it's a very short period of time where you've got to perform. So, you can have a stinking IPL and you won't be in the IPL next year, and vice versa. So, you could be on base price for the next 3 years if you have a great time. I think it's a great skill, and that's why you see a lot of people, and I know it's very easy to say, but Stephen Fleming has always been one of the best coaches I've ever worked with. Rikki Ponting also, Panna, as you'd call him. What a man. Your nickname terms, you two? Or are you still?
I don't know. I saw him a couple of months ago, and I was definitely called mate. So,
That's an upgrade on champ.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But those kind of guys, I think the experience of being captain and having to have that emotional awareness of getting the best out of different players, different personalities, that's a skill that translates into the best coaches. And they're the ones that realize, okay, you know what, an extra net session where someone's trying to slog it for the next hour and 20 minutes is exactly what this player doesn't need. Like Stephen Fleming grabbed me out of a net in Delhi, I remember. He was like, you're not going to hit them better than the last 10 minutes. Like, these are terrible pitches. I don't know how you're middling it. Like, get out the net. And he just dragged me by the grill. I was like, oh, I've been Alfred.
I'm kind of aroused.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yep. Straight. But yeah, it was that kind of thing. Is that awareness of going, yeah, right, you're done. You're not going to hit them better, and you're ready to go. So, yeah, those kind of skill sets, I think, are the most important now. It's far less technical because you have a batting coach, you have a bowling coach. They're the technique guys, and the amount of analysis that goes into it now. You normally see your technique getting sprayed on the TV anyway, so they do the work for
you. Bilbo, you're obviously you're well entrenched in England's white ball setup. They have a new coach, Matthew Mott. You know, I know you're a supporter of Manchester United and just European football generally. You understand coaches come with philosophies, and I guess what I want to know is, does Matthew Mott have what it takes to fit into Owen Morgan's regime and philosophy?
100%. I haven't spent a huge amount of time with Motti, but the bits when I was playing for the Sixers back in the day, he was around. Rob Key speaks incredibly highly of him. He tried to get him at Kent quite a few years ago when he was captain here. So I think, again, with Keezy, but also Morgs and the rest of the setup, they're very in tune with how they want to move things forward. And I think Morgs, kind of, it speaks for itself. The last 5 years, how he's completely changed the culture. Motti will come in and fit that perfectly and hopefully take us to another level as well, which is always exciting.
What about Brendan McCullum? You obviously just spent a bit of time. You've obviously spent a bit of time at KKR. You've played the entire IPL with the new Test match coach, Brendan McCullum. Like, what's he about? Is he a technical guy? Is he just good around the boys? He strikes me as good around the boys.
Elite, I think, is the term to use.
Nah, horrendous.
Horrendous. Shocking bloke. Yeah.
Elite. You know, do I want to just, completely end my career now?
We get some
worst
clicks.
bloke I've ever met. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. No, he's an exceptional bloke. And I know this might be hard for you guys as Australians, but I mean, it's rare to get a bad Kiwi, let's be honest. And
that's true. That's true.
It's very true.
Yeah.
And no, he's awesome. I think the huge strength that he will bring to that test match environment is to drive a culture, to completely reset it. And it's funny kind of reading all the stuff and kind of seeing different people kind of have these perceptions of how he's going to go about his business, and it's going to be 2020 cricket with, you know, everyone's going to be slogging from the first over. Like, that was him as a player, but like, he's a tough bastard. Like, he's tough as nails. Like, he'll want to graft it out. Like, don't have that perception of how he went about his cricket just to completely go on to trying to get other people to play all that way. Yes, it's about putting people under pressure, but I think the biggest strength of him is to get the best out of the human beings around him, drive a culture that everyone will be going in the same direction. And that's the biggest key. I think it has lacked a little bit of kind of direction just because of the changes over the last few years. So yeah, I think with him and Stokesy, there'll be a very clear vision, that clarity, and everyone will be moving in the same direction, which is really exciting.
I don't know, man. I think if you score heaps of runs for your country, then you're sort of owed the job for a little while, and you should be looked after by lots of people. That's just my comment, not yours. Your friends, your mates, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, so you
know, you'll never play for Australia, Billings, with that attitude.
So I had to. I mean, you're going to joke about it. Everyone can joke about it.
I think by the time people listen to this, we'll have already joked about it at the start of the show, which haven't been recorded yet. But they were Australian cricket. So, hey, Bilbo, just on the stuff that's being written and said, and, you know, perceptions externally about how England's going to go about it, you know, you were mentioned as a potential test captain, and we know that Stokes has been appointed, so we can talk about this. I just want to know, like, what does it feel like to sit silently and have to, like, watch, listen, and read people talking about the merits of you as a captain, or even in some cases criticizing it, when at the prospect of you being England captain, when you never asked for it, all you've done is just been highly regarded as a leader and a person. And then I just noted there's a fair few people drawing up a straw man and then just writing an article just saying why Billings shouldn't be captain, you know, and it's just like, well, all you did was just be someone who might be.
I was sitting on the sofa drinking a coffee, taking the piss out of Tim Southey and Pat Cummins. There we go. Heads or tails, Bilbo? Those two together, they were relentless. We were in a bubble. I could not escape. The two of them, they were just on it the whole time. They were like, 6-1 odds? No, surely not. It's so funny. But yeah, it was very entertaining. They were on me for there was a period of about 2-3 weeks because all of this was going about. And yeah, like I said, in a bubble where we had no outdoor space in the hotel, like, it was just kind of, pretty confined. And every night we were just watching the IPL game in the team room, and they were just relentless the whole time. And it was the amount of airtime that English cricket got from those two. It was incredible. All the different, who's going to be captain, who's going to be coach, who's going to bat three. Well, like, what's going on? And so, it was chaos, all of them.
You won't know this, Bilbo.
Sorry, shall I try and answer that question as well?
No, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Yeah. So I had the two biggest critiques right there with me, basically.
You won't know this, Bilbo, but there's because you'll be focusing on the loss, obviously, against Somerset to start the Vitality Blast the other day, but there's a World Cup in Australia, a T20 World Cup coming up, and I'm almost positive that you'll be in the squad because that's what you do. You're in the squad. But like, is there a spot where you're like, like that's me. That's how I get in. Is it three? Is it opening? Is it keeping? Is it 7? Is it a finisher? Like, do you have an idea where it's like, if I perform this well in the next 3, 4, 5 months or whatever before the World Cup, like that's how I get into the squad. Like into the starting 11. Like, is there a clear path for you?
1, 2, 3 injuries, I think. No, you got to joke about having here. Of course, the 100 produces. It presents a great opportunity, the Vitality Blast as well, and there's a lot of international cricket in the meantime. So there will be opportunities. Ultimately, it's up to me to take those whenever they come. I see myself probably getting into that side, definitely kind of 4, 5, 6, 7, that middle order. And also 4 and 5, that's where I'm best at. 6 and 7 is a bit of a lottery. We all know that. You'll have kind of one good day to every 4 or whatever. So yeah, I'd like to kind of bat 4 and 5. But like I said, it's all down to me really. You've just got to force your way in, way to runs. There's a lot of very good players around at the moment, as there are in Australia, and especially batting. We're not short of batting, so it's simple as that really. Just got to force my way in with that. We've got probably 2 of the best white ball keepers, well, in England's history, without a doubt, in front of me as well. So, I mean, how long does it take to get citizenship? No, it is what it is. You just kind of crack on, give it my best, and we'll see where we end up.
Any other cricket questions, here goes?
Cricket questions? Oh, no. No, I've got one question about training at Crystal Palace.
Great. Oh, well yeah. I was going to ask about football as well. Yeah. Man United, you know, you're pretty heavy on it on Twitter, which is good. What are they got to do? You're interested in Ten Hag? You think the issues are deeper than that, and it doesn't matter who's in charge? It's Hollywood FC. It's a cynical exploitation. You know, like when you see someone interviewed and they've got like that look in their eye, when you're just like, you do not want to cross this bloke. Ten Hag looks like he looks like a madman. That if someone crosses him, he's going to like jab them. So I'm very excited. Ajax, in terms of pure football, what a football club to come from as well. So I'm just excited that we've got a guy with a bit of character about him in charge and has a clear philosophy moving forward. So sounds like English cricket. No, I'm joking. All of this is going to be completely taken out of context. We're having a laugh, and everyone's just it's going to be in black and white. You know, class. Yeah. So just in case people, you know, want to take this out of context, I have flagged this up. We are joking. No, I think Ten Hag's going to be good. Ronaldo, I am that 30-year-old man who does the and, I mean, you might have seen some of the terrible warm-up football where I'm not going to lie, the standard of football in the warm-up in IPL cricket is great for the ego. I tried to get the referee to give us unlimited touches, but failed in that. But it was great fun. But anytime I scored a goal, it was definitely the Ronaldo carry-on celebration.
Well, just on your prowess, you've obviously, I'm going off your Instagram. Obviously, anyone I'm romantically linked with, I go deep in their Instagram, Bilbo. And I don't have to go far. 2019, you and Joe Denley training at Crystal Palace there with Roy Hodgson. But you've also got a photo with David Beckham. With the caption, "Cheers, Dave, great lunch." And I just want to know how does Bilbo and Bex get together for a bacon sarnie of a Sunday morning? How does that happen?
Bacon sarnie with caviar, darling, caviar. You got to take the piss out of yourself, haven't you? It was so funny. So we're as you do, we're in the south of France. This lovely restaurant called La Garrigue. Wasn't a bacon sarnie, I assure you. And yeah, we had a table of about 10, and all of a sudden, the entrance to the restaurant, you had to get there by boat because it's a private island.
Of course, mate, of course. Yeah.
And my now fiance Sarah was sat opposite me. We had the table here, and then I said, "Don't scream, but turn around." And it was David Beckham with his complete entourage, all the kids.
Hell yeah!
Victoria Beckham, Elton John was there as well. Bodyguards everywhere. They had the two biggest tables in the middle of the restaurant, and all the girls were sat there. They did proceed to scream. They were like, "Oh my god!" The whole restaurant. And I mean, this was a pretty special place. Like Catherine Zeta-Jones was just over there as well.
And Sam Billings. Sam Billings was there. Yeah, Sam Billings was there.
Some second grade cricketer from Penrith. Yeah, over there. Cheers.
Play a bit of twos.
PGs, I think. So yeah, it was an incredible day, and then it was so funny. I obviously asked for a photo, and I put that caption up just to take the piss.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who thought I actually had lunch with David Beckham. You had lunch with David Beckham? What? Unbelievable. But actually, on a side note, this is actually deadly serious. Two of my really good mates from school, year below me at school, doing really, really well, doing F45 in the UK. Pardon me. They've opened up now 3 studios, and they've just opened up the latest one with David Beckham in High Street, Kensington. So every now and then go for a training session. And,
mate, I did his workout the other day, the DB45.
Enjoy it?
No, it's hard as fuck. No way. You're kidding?
The rig's happy with it. The rig's
they're absolutely singing. Mate, did you when you went up and got a photo with him, like did you sort of go, I represent England as well? I sort of play a bit of pro stuff, a couple of pros together. Anything?
Absolutely not. No. Not my shopping. He's number one for me. Like growing up, absolute hero. So yeah, I'll be honest, I was pretty starstruck. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But one thing about him, the amount of people who asked for a photo, he was so polite to every single person. Like the bloke's all class. So yeah, David Beckham. They say never meet your heroes, but he was an absolute delight.
Same as us with Sam Billings.
Yeah, and
class
here we
act,
are.
very, very polite as well.
Bilbo meeting us. That's
mate, thanks for coming on. I think your second time on the pod, maybe another time with some IPL gear we've been doing, but mate, really appreciate it. You've been up to a lot in the last year or so since we spoke, so glad we caught up on it. All the best for the 37 teams that you're in and the various political allegiances that you're trying to manage, even though you claim that you're just trying to be a good bloke. But that's all good. We get it. There you go. That's what you wanted. Sam Billings.
Thank you very much to Sam Billings for his time, his DMs, and his friendship, his kinship, his salad, his eyes, his connection. I like our connection with Bilbo. He's a nice guy, isn't he? He's a nice guy.
He's excellent. He's excellent.
I've never heard anyone say a bad word about Bilbo to his face. But we need to talk about Manscaped, Pez, before we get into
of course we do.
#AskTGC.
Well, I've got what they call summer copy, which is designed for people in the US, but it's UK summer as well. And with that in mind, summer is coming. The sun is shining, shirts are off, and your balls are smooth. you heard?
I think that was a B-list of Boys of Summer.
That's right. That was the draft lyrics.
That was the B-side.
You heard that right. Your friends at Manscaped are here to make sure your beach balls are as smooth as Floridian sand.
I've never been to Florida. You been to Florida?
No. In
Gator
summer,
territory?
mate, in summer, you want to kill some cold beers and barbecues, not kill the vibe with pubes peeking out your swim trunks. That's why
Like barbecue ruined.
Manscaped, having an absolutely sensational day, walking around. Oh, you got a little pube sticking out there. Vibe's killed. Vibe's dead. That's why Manscaped has their performance package 4.0 now, Higgins. We're up to 4.0.
Yeah, baby. Oh, here we are.
To keep the party in your pants looking crisp and refreshing. How do you like the party in your pants looking, mate? Oh, crisp and refreshing. I like it to look refreshing.
Mate, your balls remind me of Floridian sand.
Well, they're as smooth as Floridian sand. I'll give you the tip. All summer long, dive head first into summer by joining the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, and get ready for that hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com. And we're doing it again for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's 20% off plus free shipping with the code TGC. Now, look, they want us to talk about some shit. You know the drill. There's a lawnmower, which is another name. A lawnmower is quite it's a rough idea, I got to say, for trimming pubes.
Yeah.
But I got a story. I'm up here in Darwin, as you well know, Higgos, and you do want to, look, I mean, the sand here in Nightcliff isn't as smooth as that in Florida, but you want to keep stuff pretty crisp and refreshing, you know.
Yeah.
And I actually forgot to bring up the cord for my Manscaped from Melbourne, and so I actually had to resort to other clippers that I have, which it was a very, very, very dangerous operation, which I carried out with surgical precision because the stakes were high. But I took too much off, to be honest. It looked weird, but it really reinforced to me how much I appreciate my Manscaped. I went back to Melbourne, both to see you, but mainly to get my Manscaped, which I didn't tell you about. Yeah. And I've used it again, and I got to say, the safety on it is premium. You can just get into the shower, clean yourself up deluxe. Everything's nice and smooth. You're aerodynamic. You could run in the Olympics.
Crisp and refreshing.
You can swim. You're taking a little bit of drag off in the pool and stuff. And and I'm just saying it's a good piece of kit. It's a good piece of kit. We can talk about all this other shit with crop preserver. Look, if you get the performance package, you're going to get all the bells and whistles that come with it. It looks nice. It's well boxed, etc. But I just want to say, just the main item of it, the mothership, which is the Lawnmower 4.0. It's a good piece of kit. It takes off what it needs to take off. You can do it in the shower. It's amazing. It works. It doesn't hurt you. I endorse it heartily.
Said it many times before, Pez. Absolute game changer. You don't need your dick to look like you got a hand job from Edward Scissorhands. You don't need that. You don't need that. People have been going around saying that, but you don't need that.
It is. If you get your scissors going, there's a big Edward Scissorhands vibe to it, isn't there? It's completely inconsistent, very distracting.
Yep.
Very anathema to the idea of balls as smooth as Floridian sand.
That's right. And Pez, 20% off free shipping using the code TGC. Manscaped.com. You know where to get it. Come on. All right, here we go. Hashtag AskTGC. Let's just do one here, Pez, to wrap up the show. Shall you or shall I?
I'll go. We're doing Liam here?
Yeah, we're doing Liam.
Liam? Okay, Liam. Dear the notorious PEZ, let's say, and Hig Dog, this is called Side Mouth Demons and Internal Crisis. Have we read this one before, he goes? Should I go to the next one? No. Okay. My brother just informed me that he was chatting with a bloke who just started his work, and he mentioned that he plays cricket, brackets, some Park Fours, real wheelie bin shit, purely because of the grade cricketer. My immediate response was, fuck me, that's some hard drive type of shit. It was as if I blacked out or was being possessed. The response just fell out of my mouth. My brother, who is clearly a much more well-rounded individual, looked at me perplexed. That's a bit harsh, don't you think? He was right. Upon reflection, who am I to judge a guy who just clearly loves the game? And just because I played in a higher local division of said wheelie bin shit and one single game of 2s and 3s grade cricket, brackets 4s, what gives me the right to be a coat? I begin by reflecting deeper. This guy probably likes his teammates too. I can't remember the last time I did, if ever. Maybe that's why I took the job that required me to work some Saturdays and be late to training. Maybe that's why I stopped caring. Maybe that's why I quit. Then why after saying I had retired, do I still get wrangled into playing a game or two a year with a bunch of coats? At least Dad still comes to watch when I do. Well, that's nice. Has cricket and its toxic culture made me a coat, or was I always a coat? Love the pod.
This might be a moment of self-realization and reflection for Liam. Maybe he is becoming of age where that becomes more present in the mind, so you can access deeper realms of your own existential crises. But self-identity, identity crisis. I'm just saying things that don't really make sense. But
I think type in a few search terms into Google now. YouTube.
Yeah.
Self-identity, identity crisis. Yeah.
What is
definition, psychologist.
But I think Liam's not a coat. But he might be aware of some coat behaviours over time that he has executed in his life. And he's just thinking like, is this me or is it the cricket? Is it the children's fault? I think that he might be becoming aware that like the things that he did in the cricket environment, maybe on the field, dressing room stuff, he was like, that wasn't me. I wasn't being my true self. I was put into an environment where I was hanging around men for too long and became quite toxic because there's a big old alpha hierarchy. I was trying to impress people that I didn't really care about. And I was thinking like, and now he's like, is that me or was it the cricket club? Was it the game of cricket? And I think it was probably just the game of cricket. But also you were a willing participant in the activity, so it does give rise to some self-reflection. What is?
Well, I want to split a few things apart with this. Firstly, the guy that he's talking about who plays some hard drives wheelie bin stuff. I think Liam, just consider the grass is always greener on the other side. I'm very skeptical that anybody enjoys cricket on a purely healthy, organic level. That there is a team out there that exists of 11 men together for whom cricket is a wonderful addition to their life, both not just physically through runs or whatever, or maybe a couple of friendships here or there, but I mean holistically, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, economic. You know, like
what is
definition? I'm sure that guy's got problems as well. Okay, so just cool your jets on whether this guy is like the embodiment of someone actually enjoying a game of cricket. Have you ever met a person who says, "I really enjoy cricket," who you don't just think, "Bit going on here"? So to me, it begs the question: if this guy says, Liam, if he says, "I don't like," is it me or is it the cricket? It's really a question of social theory. If you put 11 guys together for a long enough period of time, 11 men with no female influence, right? 11 homogenous men too. So I'm just saying no diversity. Let's just put it like that, okay? Of sex or anything. Because you're usually talking about 11 men of the same ethnicity, the same upbringing, the same fucking setup all round. Are you just bound to create toxicity? Like, is that literally the social result, the social and cultural result of 11, and let's just say 11 Anglo coats just in the same vicinity? And if you do that with rats, if you do that with animals, with animal testing, if you do that with humans or whatever, they've done. I mean, maybe this is a new reality TV show. Like, are you just bound to get toxicity at like a primal social level?
So, but are you asking that question on the premise of like, so if you are basically the same 11 mannequins, right? The same upbringings, and so you must then create hierarchies of who is in charge, who is the alpha and stuff. I miss one thing.
You put them into that environment, and the environment is cricket and that game. So it's the game of cricket and the brutality of it, and what it demands of you and what it takes from you individually, with a social setting of 11 blokes and no diversity in that side. That's a recipe for volcanic social disruption. But it's kind of funny, and it can be fun.
If you then add the dash of salt at the end, which really makes the meal, which is that every week you play against are the worst blokes in the comp.
Yes.
Like, that is also an element. So it creates a bit of tribalism of your worst blokes in the comp.
Yes. So it's like, if you enter into any cricket team full of blokes who are basically the same as you, and there's no women around or no diversity and no sense of community, it's just blokes, and you're playing a game of cricket, you could expect nothing but toxicity. It's actually just social dynamics. You can't do anything about it. It's how we're wired. In years to come, there will be academic, like there'll be academic literature on this kind of stuff. And so Liam, it's both you and the game. It's a heady mix, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the bloke that you think is having a good time, he's not. He's not at all. It can't be the case.
Actually, it must be quite freeing for Liam to just be like, don't worry about it. Just, mate, score some runs. Get out there, score some runs.
And also just get in there, be toxic.
Get over yourself.
That's how it is. Like, kill or be killed, right?
Yeah, get in the showers, piss on someone.
Piss on someone, be pissed on.
What?
Hey, we didn't pump up Patreon if you're still here at the end.
We didn't.
The last show, we were talking about Trough Man.
Trough Man, yeah.
Trough Man, he loved being pissed on in the 70s in Sydney. I haven't laughed that much in a really long time. He must have played grade cricket, Trough Man.
Yeah. So Trough Man was a guy who played. He went to gay nightclubs in the 1970s in Sydney. He used to lay down in the trough and ask people to urinate on him. That was his thing. Anyway, we spoke about that on Patreon, patreon.com/greatcricketer. You could have also followed every single one of our dailies during the IPL, of which Pez spoke about earlier as well. So if you want to follow more stuff there, patreon.com/greatcricketer, hashtag AskTGC Fridays, episode 92, I think that was, maybe even 93, I forget 92. Which one it was, but every single Friday that show comes out. Anyway, that's when you'll hear from us again, heading into that first test match. England, New Zealand, Lords.
Should be a good game.
New kit. Should be a good game. Who you got? Who do you fancy?
New Zealand.
Same. Don't rate Vettori, though. All right, see you later.